Tonight on Flagrant, the truth will be revealed. Marriages will be shattered. Friendships destroyed. Nothing will be the same again. Our guest, once a beloved comedian, has spent the last couple weeks being destroyed, disrespected. He's been dragged through the mud, and he couldn't even take out that tiny little of his and stuff it inside for his own pleasure. Give it up for our friend, here to tell his side of the story, Akaash Singh.
This video is commentary and analysis based on publicly available podcast clips, interviews, and public discussions. It is not intended as hate or harassment toward Andrew Schultz, Charlemagne the God, Akaash Singh, Jasleen Singh, or any guest mentioned. The goal is to examine patterns in podcast culture, accountability, and public reaction, not to assign personal malice. Over the past week, Andrew Schultz has found himself in two very different rooms, facing two very different kinds of scrutiny. One took place in a familiar setting, the Brilliant Idiots podcast, where Charlemagne the God pressed him on the fallout surrounding Akaash Singh and his wife Jasleen. The other unfolded in a far less forgiving environment, the New York Times Dealbook Summit, where Schultz was questioned about his interview with Donald Trump and whether he failed a basic test of accountability by letting demonstrably false claims go unchallenged. On the surface, these situations seem unrelated, one rooted in internet drama and podcast culture, the other in politics and institutional media. But when viewed together, they reveal a consistent tension in modern comedy podcasting, the gap between how comedians define their role and how audiences outside that ecosystem expect them to behave once their platforms become influential. On The Brilliant Idiots, the conversation around Akaash and Jasleen was tense from the start.
I don't like what they've been doing to Akaash the past few weeks, man.
Yo, free Akaash, man. Free Akaash. Free Akaash.
I haven't seen the new episode of Flagrant, man. Did it go well?
You gotta watch it, man. We had him and Jasleen. Well, am I ruining it? Everybody already knows by now. Yeah, just watch it.
I just don't like it because it's such a sensitive subject. That's his wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They public.
Well, can I say what I want to say?
Of course. This is what Brilliant Idiots is about.
All I want to say is simply this.
Keep your wife off the internet.
Motherfucking internet. Why does your wife have a microphone in her face? Do not allow your wife to start a motherfucking podcast, bro.
Yes.
Okay? There can be one entertainer in this family, and it shall be me. I'm the comedian. I'm out here on this road, and I'm out here getting the money. Let me use some of this money to help you do some other things, yo. Because you don't need a microphone in your face because you're going to fuck around and ruin us. All right, not just you, us.
But go watch the episode.
Yes.
We had a great talk with Akaash and Jasleen, and it was awesome, and it was very funny.
Because I don't want to have to explain, because that's my wife. I'm going to always have my wife's back.
Yes, as
you know what I'm
should.
saying? But guess what?
And so much of this shit was bullshit. And then there are things
Tell
that
me
she
what
said.
was bullshit.
She was a virgin. She was never a whore.
So that video of her talking about sleeping with a bunch of men was not real?
She never said she slept with it. She said I was popping my pussy at frat parties, and she's a sheltered Indian girl who thought that meant dancing. And then the rest of us were like, what the fuck did you really mean by that? So we had that conversation. But all her being a whore completely out of context.
Andrew Schultz's role in that discussion was notably different. Rather than interrogate Akaash or Jasleen's judgment aggressively, Schultz leaned toward mitigation. He emphasized how internet audiences distort nuance, how jokes are often stripped of context, and how outrage tends to snowball beyond what the original moment deserves. While he didn't deny that mistakes were made, his instinct was clearly protective, an attempt to de-escalate, reframe, and move the conversation away from moral condemnation.
Not Steph Curry with the shot, boy.
They call her chicken curry.
God damn. Why would she say that?
That's a good point. So we had those conversations.
What the?
So watch the episode.
My brothers.
Clears up a lot of shit.
My brothers.
And also she just acknowledges yo, that was stupid. I shouldn't be fucking sharing that. I can see why the audience thought it was this thing. There was a lot of
delete it.
stuff.
Delete the podcast.
Delete ours?
No more influencing. No, I'm talking about her.
Oh, we're working on it.
No influencing. I don't want you don't let your wife be influencers. Don't let your wife be podcasters, man.
Well, it's not about letting.
No.
Let.
No.
Let.
No.
Let.
No.
Let.
No. There's certain things we can't do
Yeah.
because we know that it's detrimental to our situation.
You should just encourage your wife not to.
No, it ain't no encourage. No. We gotta stop
Rules.
that. Yeah, some things. No. Some things when they're detrimental to us, no. Can she encourage you not to cheat?
They do that.
No. She tells you don't fucking cheat.
How well did that work?
Very fucking well. Very well. It made me stop.
Maybe if she was encouraging
It took
you,
a year.
it'll work.
Took years to set, right?
Hey, man.
You don't think your wife was like, get these microphones away from the radio host. This motherfucker out here destroying our marriage.
But no, that's true. But all of that is true.
You and the Jesseline Singh
Yes,
of your own household.
all of that is true. I'm in the fucking radio station putting on an act, sniffing seats, wilding the fuck out. Yes, embarrassing myself and embarrassing my fucking wife.
Yo, I'm glad we could have this intervention here too, bro. That's what we're doing this week.
True. So yes,
It's Christmas spirit.
so I'm saying all of that to say, women, learn from my mistakes. Stay the fuck off these podcasts. Don't be on these motherfucking podcasts. Don't be an influencer, okay?
That dynamic, Charlemagne pressing on responsibility and boundaries, Schultz emphasizing context and intent, felt familiar. And it became even more striking days later at the Deal Book Summit, when Schultz found himself on the receiving end of questions framed not by comedy norms, but by journalistic ones. At the summit, Schultz was asked about a recent interview he conducted with Donald Trump shortly before the 2024 election. The flashpoint was Trump's characterization of the Russia investigation as a hoax invented by Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi, and his demand that the Pulitzer Prize awarded to the New York Times for coverage of Russian election interference be revoked. During that exchange, Schultz appeared to nod along and verbally agree with Trump's framing, at one point stating that allowing the Pulitzer to stand was effectively rewarding the lie. The panel's criticism centered on a straightforward question: was Schultz, by not challenging those claims, allowing a former president to spread misinformation on his platform?
Andrew, when you sit down...
I think that's my duty, but
When
yeah.
you sat down with Donald Trump a couple weeks before the 2024 election, you had a long conversation with him. And I went back and I listened to it. And I do want to push you on what you see as your responsibilities within an interview like that.
Yeah.
There's a section of the interview, and maybe you would have thought this was dutiful in the moment. I'm not so sure I'd agree. Where the president is describing the entire federal investigation into Russia as a hoax, made up by Hillary Clinton, these are made up by Nancy Pelosi. That's factual, that's not accurate. But then he goes further and he says that the Pulitzer Prize Committee should give the New York Times, should take back the Pulitzer it gave to the New York Times for its aggressive coverage of that investigation.
And the Post.
And you in the interview, you're nodding along to him, you're verbally agreeing with him.
Yeah.
And you say, to have the New York Times keep that Pulitzer is to basically say that the lie is true.
Oh, that's what they brought you here for. They brought you here to put your... They needed to see you face to face.
This is what you said. This is what you said.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Donald Trump, because you're actually, by
I take
leaving
back
the
all the
Pulitzer,
nice things I said, Lisa.
by leaving the Pulitzer with the New York Times, you're sort of saying it happened, and it didn't happen. And everybody now, he goes on, and you say, Andrew Schultz, this is the...
Oh, he said that part.
And you say you're rewarding the lie, and you're agreeing with him on, for the hoax. So now, in retrospect, maybe you think this is the best interview you've ever done, but I wonder if, in retrospect, perhaps you question whether in moments like that, you're not fulfilling what your friend and even your co-host Charlemagne thinks is pretty essential about the role of journalism in this moment.
Wait. Well, that was a big leap right there. What was the last question?
Are you letting the president lie on your show and not bothering to fact check him?
I don't know anything about the Russia hoax.
So why interview the president and let him talk about it?
And that's why Trump wants to go on his podcast.
I didn't ask him about
No,
the
he
Russia
brought it up
hoax.
every which way throughout the interview.
But I didn't ask him about the Russia hoax. I had three things I wanted to ask.
Turns out there's no hoax.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing that I would say.
First of all, I know you want to talk.
Critics argued that by agreeing with Trump's characterization and failing to fact-check in real time, Schultz blurred the line between hosting and endorsing. In that room, context and vibes were not sufficient answers. Schultz's defense echoed many of the instincts he displayed on Brilliant Idiots. He emphasized that he is not a journalist, that his podcast is a comedy show, and that his goal is not gotcha interviewing, but humanizing guests. He argued that he didn't ask Trump about the Russia investigation because it wasn't among the limited topics he planned to cover, and that he wasn't well versed in the specifics of the investigation. Instead, he leaned on what he called the public gestalt, the broad sense among many Americans that the Russia story ultimately went nowhere because there was no indictment. Others in the discussion pushed back, noting that the absence of an indictment does not negate the reality of a sustained foreign interference campaign, nor does it invalidate the reporting that earned the Pulitzer in question.
Talk about immigration?
Michael, as one who's getting sued as a member of the Pulitzer
Can I just respond to it, David?
Just hang on one second.
Okay.
Just to be clarified, the Pulitzer was to the Post and the Times. It wasn't about the Russia hoax. It was about Russian interference in the election.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Period.
Okay.
And it was a collection of terrific reporting.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to clarify.
Thank you. So this is a perfect example of the media class, which is like you guys who know everything about the Russia hoax, you know everything about what it is. Was it actually? Was it not? Like if we relitigated every single thing, was it justified, et cetera? And then the rest of us, who I do not consider myself part of the journalist class, that just go, oh, so it didn't end up being real? Oh, I guess it was a hoax. And this is the separation of knowledge.
That's your position?
Yeah, I just said it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you guys are really aware of this because it's important to you. It's important if you're reporting on something that if there is truth to it. But what did happen? Did he get indicted? Did he get proven guilty of it? Like what did happen with the hoax?
Just to be clear.
Not the hoax. What did happen with the Russia investigation?
David?
The Russia investigation is a federal inquiry into a sustained campaign by Russia to influence the 2016 election, according to U.S. intelligence agencies, on behalf of, in favor of Donald Trump. It's not an investigation. It's an investigation that also sought to understand contacts between Russian officials and Trump, and ultimately there's no evidence.
I'm not testing you. I'm just saying, what happened? What
There
do you
was
think?
a Mueller report, and there was no indictment.
Okay, so
there was no indictment,
take this right here. Let's stop right here. There was a Mueller report, and there was what?
No indictment.
No indictment.
Okay. What do you think the American people think when they hear there was no indictment? They're not looking into all this research. They're not seeing like, ooh, there are real connections, but maybe not close enough to indict, but there is something real here. What do you think the average American thinks when they hear there was a Mueller report and there was no indictment? What do you think they think?
You clearly have an answer.
I'm asking you guys. What do you speak for your audience for a second? What do you think they think when they hear that?
David, correct me if I'm wrong. Richard Nixon wasn't indicted in Watergate, but Americans still look back on Watergate and think that was a scandal.
You're not answering the question.
I am.
No, you're answering it with a different one, and I think you're avoiding it because you know the truth.
The exchange ultimately exposed a deeper disagreement about roles. From the panel's perspective, the moment Schultz invited a former president onto a massive platform, journalistic responsibility entered the equation, whether he wanted it to or not. Placed side by side, the through line becomes clear. In both cases, Schultz defaults to a consistent philosophy, prioritizing context, intent, and relational ease over confrontation. On Brilliant Idiots, that approach manifests as protecting a friend from what he sees as disproportionate internet backlash. At Deal Book, it appears as resistance to being cast as a fact-checker or moral arbiter when interviewing a powerful political figure. Charlemagne's role in both spaces highlights the tension. He is more willing to articulate limits, why some things shouldn't be public when silence becomes complicity, and how platforms reshape responsibility. The clash isn't about right versus wrong, so much as competing definitions of what podcasting has become. Is it still an informal space governed by comedic norms, or has it evolved into a parallel media system with consequences that can't be brushed off as just conversation? The Akaash and Jasleen controversy demonstrates how quickly podcast content can escape its intended frame and turn into an internet wildfire. The Deal Book grilling shows what happens when that same casual framework is tested by institutions that don't share comedy culture's assumptions. In both scenarios, Schultz is navigating the same dilemma: how to maintain the freedom and intimacy that made podcasting appealing in the first place while operating at a scale that invites scrutiny, expectation, and judgment. Ultimately, neither moment is just about Andrew Schultz. They are about a media landscape where comedians wield enormous influence without a shared agreement on what accountability should look like. Podcast culture thrives on informality, but informality becomes harder to defend once the stakes include political misinformation or reputational destruction at internet scale. What these two episodes suggest is not that comedy podcasts are inherently irresponsible, but that the rules that once governed them may no longer be sufficient. As the audience grows and the rooms change, so does the standard. And for comedians operating at that intersection, the friction is only going to become more visible.